Hey y'all, it's your girl Millie Chan. And honey, Oliver Twixt has entered the building in this Funky Diva and Michelle Brown debacle. And he is telling his side of the story and he is holding himself accountable. And I will say this. I feel like Oliver is extremely apologetic about his part in this. Although he has a part, but I will say he is extremely sorry for what he's done. Let's get into it. So he started off by saying that he is repenting to God because he has afforded him these opportunities and he's not pleased with him gossiping, right? And he said that him and Funky Diva are as close to being family as you can be without being family. And he loves Funky Diva down. Now, Angelique was like, don't you think that if you had a conversation with Funky and that's your friend like that, he should have kept it friends like that. He agreed. And then he said that he has to apologize to Michelle. So I'm going to play that. So hold on.
Sorry, Michelle. Because I do feel bad. My bad. I'm so sorry.
Now, he said he does not have any problems with Michelle. He does not, Michelle is not his girl. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't like what Michelle does to Funky Diva, what Michelle does to T.S. Madison, what she does to Claudia. But he was like, I don't have a problem with her. But he did say that they had some words before this particular situation. But because he was gossiping, we're here now. Now, he went on to say that he never wanted to be between Funky and Michelle's situation. He said if he had known that what he thought was a a conversation with his friend, would have been on a platform, he never would have said anything. Now, he did say that Funky Diva is his person. That's his boy. But he said if he had known that, he never would have said anything. Now, he went on to say that to him it's lame that somebody would come out and say that. He was like, Funky and Michelle have their thing. He said, but to him it's lame. And he was like, it's so mean, right? He said, and I mean, I believe him because he is so sincere. He was like, that is so mean to come out and say that someone stinks. He was like, that's horrible. And that's what he's talking about. He doesn't want to appear as a bully. Like, he would not want to do that to anyone. He said to his worst enemy. So, he feels bad enough. Angelique asked Oliver, had he talked to Funky since all this happened? He said, yeah. He talked to him like that day of or the day after or whatever. But he has talked to him. He was like, he hadn't mentioned anything. They talked about him doing a shoot for Funky Diva. And he had mentioned that, yeah, man, I'm sorry that I threw you under the bus. Now, he said he met Funky Diva when he was in college, right? And he said he didn't know anything about the entertainment business, being an influencer or anything. He said Funky taught him everything, right? He said going to Tamar's house, going to Quad's house, hanging out at speakeasies that people don't know about. He was like, he taught him everything. So that is his allegiance to Funky Diva. Even though Funky said some stuff that was spoken about in private out in the public, he was like, this is not something that would break their relationship. Now, Angelique was like, you speak about him with such respect and such high regard. She said she would feel a certain kind of way if she was talking to him, they having a kiki, and in that moment, something they've said in private ends up on the internet. She was like, I would feel a certain type of way. Now, he is looking at her like, okay. Because Angelique was like, I can't really fool with you like that. But that is his friend. So then we get into it. He said that the reason that he was so hurt by what Funky did, throwing him under the bus, that day, he said this was early March, right? The beginning of March. He was like, he was at the studio with Nene and Michelle. He had met Carlos. So Nene's podcast, right? He apparently is going to be on the podcast at some point, hopefully. And he said that he had called Funky like like it was his parent to tell him about his star-studded day. And he was mentioning Michelle. And that's how it had come up. And he said that another reason that he's so hurt is because Nene and Michelle are friends. And this has come out. Funky has said Nene has said that about Michelle. And he was like, that could potentially mess up my chance of being out here on this platform. Because if Nene and Michelle are friends and he's done this to her friend, Nene may not want to fool with him. And I can see how he could see that, right? So he's like, he could have messed up an opportunity for me that the world will not get to see. And that's very much likely.
So for me, I didn't appreciate that Oliver was somewhere professionally working and he was being messy.
Now, he said he had another run-in with Michelle, a New Orleans situation, and he saw her at an event. And when he went up to her, he asked her, like, why do you always have my name in your mouth? And she kind of was like, oh, wait a minute, what are you talking about? What? He said in that moment he saw Michelle. He was like, she's actually a really nice person. And she is a nice person. Oh, Lord. So he said that they were on the set of Me and My Homegirl. He said he had gone up to Michelle because they were going to be on a podcast together. He didn't know if they were going to be sitting next to each other, across from each other, but he wanted to go ahead and speak to her. So he said that he never said she stank. He said, I never said that, right? He said when he was talking to Funky Diva, he said verbatim, and then he said, I'm sorry, Michelle. I'm sorry. He was like, now I see what people mean when they talking about her. Then he went on to say what people were saying about Michelle in the streets. And he said, he told Funky Diva, it's not like she stinks, but it's a flesh smell. You gonna have to go to 1 hour and 48 minutes and 35 seconds to hear the rest. Because if he had just left it as stank, I think that would have been okay. We're gonna get over that. His explanation was way worse. It was like, I was listening to it and I was like, ooh, Oliver, stop. Stop. Delete this, edit this, stop. I said, ooh, it was a lot. Child, he had a lot of other stuff to say. You're going to have to listen to it, but baby, let's get into this. He said that he helped Funky move out of Michelle's townhouse. He said when he had talked to Michelle at a other event, the first event when they first had an encounter, he said he told her that there was no way that Funky could have stolen her washer and dryer. Because, child, Funky was trying to get out of the townhouse because the marshals was coming to put him out. And he said he did not want people to have it on the internet where his stuff is out on the lawn. The marshals are putting him out. He didn't want that to happen. So he is at Morehouse at the time. He had to go back for a class and he came back, right? So Angie was like, let me ask you a question. Was there dog poop? He said he does not remember what it was at the door when Funky said it was dog food at the door. He said, but he did not take his shoes off. He said, hold on.
This.
Was the doodle from a dog?
I don't know if what was by the front door was doodle or not, because I can't remember that. But if I'm being honest, if I'm being 100% transparent, I'm so sorry. Them dogs did fuck up certain areas. They did.
Ooh.
Now, I don't know if that was that at the front door. I don't remember. I do not know. And I don't know. But listen, Angelique, fuck now. I just remember when I was walking through the house, I said, girl, I'm keeping my shoes and socks on.
Now, child, I'm going to ask Michelle about this because Oliver dropped some tea that, when Funky and Michelle was out in front of Sheree house, child, allegedly, Michelle was dating Bob Whitfield. I'm going to have to call her about that. But he ended with this. He said that he did not feel good about it. He felt like it was bullying and he never wants anyone to feel like that. He was like, that is not what he wants to do and he feels bad about it. He said he has repented and he has asked God for forgiveness And he said if you hear anything else that he said out in the streets, it's a lie because he's not going to be gossiping anymore. Y'all go listen to it. It's your girl, Millie Chun. I'll talk to you later. Bye.